people who were made to choose between your pet or your partner. How did your ex react when you chose your pet? Was getting a divorce and the ex-wife demanded my dog or shed take me to court over the house. I reluctantly gave him to her. She called me 5 days after taking possession of him. He was chewing everything of hers, peeing all over her and her new boyfriend's house. I got him back and he never did any of that for me. Still have him and he is 15 years old now. I found out my girlfriend was hitting my dog when I wasn't around. I left her and she was unable to admit that was the reason. I guess answering the question of what happened to you guys? With he found out I was secretly hurting his dog might make for awkward conversations. How did you find out? I would reach out my hand to pet him and he would flinch. He also would try to avoid her and if he couldn't he would go submissive. I finally asked because he was in a corner and she approached him and she raised her hand as if to hit him. I asked if she had been hitting him in the head and she said yes basically. She just used about 500 words to answer the yes or no question. Whoa, not sure how I would handle that breakup for sure, but that makes my blood boil. Not me, but my sister was dating a guy who angrily accused her of loving her elderly cat more than him. She said she did, she had had him for 14 years and they had only been dating for about a month. Guess he wasn't expecting that because he just kind of shut up and left the house. Lol. Guys. I've been dating this chick for over a month now and she still likes her cat more than me. Sure she's had him for 14 years but come on? It's just a cat. Dude can duck off. I'm married with 3 kids and I still have a special spot in my heart for my cat, Stella, who is 14 this year. I was gifted her maybe 1 to 2 years before I met my husband so he understands our bond. My wife had a cat for close to 10 years before I met her. I've never met a cat so much like their owner before. I won over my wife and her cat. We used to joke that it was a sister-wives situation. I only got a few years with her before she passed. It was so hard, like losing a bit of my wife. Such a great cat. I remember him saying my diabetic cat needed to go so he could get a dog. We weren't even living together. I looked him dead in the eyes and said, my cat will outlive this relationship considering she was really sick at the time. He said it was unlikely and stormed off. We broke up 6 years ago and my cat is still going strong. True story. I'm paraphrasing. My friend had his girlfriend spend the night at his house. While he was making her breakfast she began complaining about his nasty dog. My friend told her, you should stop complaining, the dog lives here and you don't. They broke up a week later. My friend got mad at his GF's dog. His GF yelled at him. I told him, you know who she will choose if this keeps up, right? I think we all know how it works. You might think you're faithful, but you should consider the competition first. 2 friends of mine dated seriously years ago. Girl's cat had jealousy issues and peed on guy's shoes. Guy put cat in the bathtub and pissed on cat. Relationship didn't last much longer. Edit, I really should have mentioned that he was wearing the shoes when the cat did this. The cat pisses on my stuff and it's fine, but I piss on the cat and suddenly it's a huge deal. What a double standard. He should have pissed on the cat's shoes, not on the cat. That's where he went wrong. Piss in boots. Not exactly what you asked for, but I knew a couple that had to break up because she was badly allergic to his elderly dog. They were both understanding of the situation and Therese was no animosity. They ended up getting back together after the dog had passed away and are now very happy. Edit, for those asking, there was about a 2-year period between their breakup and reunion. She tries allergy treatments and it didn't work. No, he couldn't just leave his dog home alone all night and just spend time at her place. Dog died of cancer old age around 12 years old. Neither was upset at the other during the breakup. It's truly a nah situation. This is my favorite story from when I worked in a shelter. A guy came in to surrender his cat, with the reason that his girlfriend didn't like her. He starts filling out the paperwork, but partway through he just stops and says, screw this. I'm just going to break up with her instead. He picks up the cat and walks out the door, presumably to leave his GF. I hope he stuck to it and he and his cat got a happy ending. That guy and cat lived happily ever after. The dog chose me lol. I divorced my husband and his dog destroyed his house and sadly wouldn't eat properly or do anything but stress until he came to live with me and my dog. But to be fair, my ex is terrible at pets. He just kept him outside all day and night with no interaction. The dog is a Great Dane and at the time it was me, my toddler and my dog in a little townhouse, but we gladly took in the big guy over keeping him alone and miserable with his actual owner. You can learn a lot about a person by how they treat animals. I think this is because animals can't talk back. It's one-way communication, which gives you good look into someone's behavior, because it's so on display. Needless to say, I live by this advice. Anyone who thinks animals can't talk back has never sat through one of my poodle's temper tantrums when I won't let her chase a cat. Or has never had a mouthy cat. My late mill had one who used the closest thing to profanity I have ever heard a cat use. She acted like she'd never even considered I'd choose the cat over her. I don't think that thought had ever entered her mind. Then she went into a big spiel about how I'm a loser, I'm missing out, there's only one of her, etc. etc. Yeah, I knew all that when I put my foot down over her idiotic jealousy of the cat liking me more than her. The cat is now 16 and still with me, happy in her senior years. There's been other women since her, ones that treated me a lot better than she did. It was a total win for both the cat and myself. It's a good thing that there's only one of her, because she sounds like someone you wouldn't ever want to date again. She wasn't all bad. She had a temper and had jealousy issues, which manifested as jealousy against a kitten cat. I'm not doing a good job making her sound any better here, am I? Okay, yeah, she wasn't great. True story, X says I'm leaving him all worried about our cats. Don't want to lose them, don't want to separate them. X says, don't worry, I'm not taking the cat's immediate relief. Edit, thanks for the awards. Be a good human and adopt a pet. Not me, but my sister chose our cat over her boyfriend of 4 months. He was furious when she dumped him and called her an idiot for picking a dirty fleabag over him. Cat was not a dirty fleabag, he just hated pets and wanted to try to control my sister. I was relieved when she dumped him. I never got good vibes from him. Jesus, I can't imagine having the gall to demand any kind of lifestyle change after only 4 months in a relationship, let alone one as major as getting rid of a pet. I found out that my ex had been talking to her mom about putting my dog down while I was at work and just telling me she ran away or something. Before that moment I never would have thought I could have violent feelings towards a woman. But now I know in my heart that there's a serious possibility I would have hurt her had she actually done it. Damn, that's ducked. My ex asked me if she thought my dog liked me or her more, and I said me. She got genuinely mad and told me I am supposed to just lie to her. Didn't last long. Why would your dog like her better? Sounds like some entitlement. I bred tarantulas professionally for a few years. Most were in a specially designed shed outside, but I had a few in the house. Was totally upfront with people when dating, and if it was a deal breaker, then no hard feelings. I dated this one guy for a few months, but we'd always go out or to his. I didn't really think much of it. Around month 4, he started getting annoyed and one day, straight up asked me how long it was gonna take to sell a few spiders. I thought he was talking about my actual job, so I was like, oh, I sell them in bulk to a supplier. He's coming round on Tuesday, actually? And my BF was so relieved, but I couldn't really understand why. So the dude comes round on the weds and sees the tarantulas in the house and goes on an absolute tirade about how I lied to him, how I've broken his trust, and how he's gonna need time to heal. NGL, I just burst out laughing. I was like, you really thought I was gonna give up my job for you? Well, that was apparently not the reaction he expected. He stormed out, yelling about how I was such a dumb bitch for not realizing how great he was. Lamau. Tried to crucify me on social media, but he just ended up looking like an idiot. Lol. Had an old friend who chose her ex's dog over the ex. And though there was no choosing in the ones not around anymore sense, my dog 1000% loves my husband more than he ever loved me. If I had not married my husband, pretty sure my dog would have given me an ultimatum. When my husband and I first met, I wasn't sold. But my dogs loved him so much that I gave him another date. And then another. We ended up moving, with the dogs and his cat, to Central America for 2 years, coming back to the US, opening a restaurant and having a kid. The dogs have long since passed from old age, but I'll forever be grateful that they convinced me to go on a second date with the best man in the world. I once dated a girl for a couple of years. We met at a pub where we both ended up having lunch and a beer at adjacent outdoor tables. She had her adorable chow mix with her. I wasn't even hitting on her, I just came over and asked if I could pet her dog. She said of course. And 10 minutes later I was still there sitting on the concrete playing with the dog, lol. She actually left me with her dog for a minute to go inside. When she came out and I stood up to return to my table and pay the check, she gave me her phone number. Turns out she went inside to ask the owner about me, I was a regular, and make sure I wasn't a crazy person. With a solid assurance that I was not, she decided that anyone that's that good with her dog is someone she wanted to see again. Edit on request, dog tax, hers is the redhead, the other one is mine. Dog tax number 2. Chowies are territorial as duck, as well as loyal to no end. If I met a guy that could come up to my chowie and immediately pet it, and keep doing so for that long, then there's probably something worth keeping with that man. You pass the dog test with flying colors.